Hello, students, and welcome to Education Eternity. And now, today we are going to study Electricity and Magnetism, the complete unit. This unit is divided into three chapters. Current electricity is your very first chapter. Your second chapter is household circuits, and your final chapter is electromagnetism. So it is basically divided into three chapters. In this complete unit we are going to cover this in one video. So if you are new, please like the video, subscribe the channel, click on the notification bell, and this unit is really important for you, and it's quite, I can say, interesting one also. So the very first topic is concept of charge. So as you all have read in class 9th about charge, when two bodies like a glass or silk and the ebonite and fur, they are rubbed together, then there is a transfer of electrons from one body to the another. The body which gains electrons becomes negatively charged, and the body which loses electrons, it becomes positively charged. And thus there are two kinds of charges. The first one is positive charge and the second one is negatively charged. The two like charges will repel each other, while the two unlike charges will attract each other. And the symbol of charge is either small q or capital Q. The SI unit is coulomb, and we have other units also. So with this charge, another concept arises. This is current. So current, the charge in motion, it constitutes the electric current. Now what is current? Current is defined as the rate of flow of charge, or in other words, the current flowing in a conductor is the amount of charge flowing per second through it. So if a charge q flows through the cross section of a conductor in time t, then the current I will be I equal to q upon t. So now unit of current, the SI unit of charge is coulomb, and the SI unit of current is measured in coulomb per second, and it is given a name. It is ampere, and the symbol is A. Now 1 ampere can be defined as the current which flows through when 1 coulomb charge passes in 1 second is known as 1 ampere. Now flow of current. In metals, the moving charge are free electrons which constitutes the current, while in electrolytes and ionized gases, both positive ions and the negative ions are moving charges which constitute the current. If n electrons pass through the cross section of a conductor in time t, then the total change passed through the conductor is q equal to Ne, or I equal to q upon t. It also becomes I equal to Ne by t. Now, what is a concept of potential and potential difference? So the potential at a point is defined as the amount of work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to a point is known as potential at that particular point. Now it is denoted by the symbol V, and it is a scalar quantity. So as I told you, the formula will be V equal to W upon Q, because it is the amount of work required to bring a unit positive charge from one point to another point. So from infinity to a point is here. So basically it will be W by Q. Now potential difference. So accidentally I told you this earlier. The potential difference between 2 points is equal to the amount of work done in moving a unit positive charge from one point to another point is known as the potential difference. And what is potential? The amount of work required to bring unit positive charge from infinity to a point is known as potential of that point. Again, it is also a scalar quantity. Just in case earlier we have V equal to W upon Q. Here we have VA minus VB equal to W upon Q. A and B are nothing. A and B are respectively 2 points, A and B. So the potential of point A minus potential of point B. So that is your potential difference. Now the unit for both potential as well as potential difference is joule per coulomb. Now we are going to talk about the concept of resistance. So what is resistance? Resistance is the obstruction offered in the path of flow of current by a conductor is known as resistance. रेजिस्ट करना मतलब कि चीज़ से कुछ कोई चीज़ करने से रोकना, तो वो होता है रेजिस्टेंस. तो ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन क्रिएट करना फ्लो ऑफ करंट में, तो वो होता है रेजिस्टेंस. व्हाट इज द कॉज ऑफ रेजिस्टेंस? अ मेटल हैज़ ए लार्ज नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स एंड एन इक्वल नंबर ऑफ पॉजिटिव आयंस. The positive ions do not move while the electrons move almost freely inside the metal. These electrons are called the free electrons. They move at random, colliding among themselves and with positive ions. When the ends of the metal wires are connected to a cell, that is, when a potential difference is applied across it, the ends of the metal wire, the electrons inside it started, due to acceleration, it start moving from one end, that is from the negative potential, toward the end of the positive potential, during which their speed increases, but during the movement they collide with fixed positive ions and lose some of their kinetic energy, due to which their speed decreases. After collision, they are again accelerated towards the positive potential due to existing potential difference, so their speed again increases, and then in collision with the positive ions their speed decreases. This process continues. As a result, the electrons do not move in bulk with a continuously increasing speed, but there is a drift of electrons towards the positive terminal. Thus a metal wire offers some resistance to the flow of electron through it. The resistance of a conductor depends on the number of collisions suffered by the electrons with the positive ions while मूविंग फ्रॉम वन एंड टू अनदर एंड. तो रेजिस्टेंस का कॉज यही होता है कि जो इलेक्ट्रॉन्स होते हैं वो एक एंड से दूसरे एंड तक जाने लगते हैं. जब उन एंड्स की तरफ वो जाने लगते हैं तो उनकी स्पीड एकदम से बढ़ जाती है, जबकि जो इस टाइम पे वो जो पॉजिटिव वाले हैं उनसे वो क्लैश करते हैं पॉजिटिव आयन से. जब वो क्लैश करते हैं तो वो अपनी कुछ स्पीड डिक्रीज़ कर जाते हैं. वहाँ जो स्पीड डिक्रीज़ कर जाते हैं, बस यही सब रेजिस्टेंस का कॉज है. नेक्स्ट thing which we are going to study is Ohm's law, and before Ohm's law I would like to tell you V equal to IR. This is very important for your Ohm's law. Now what is Ohm's law? According to Ohm's law, the current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its ends, provided the physical conditions and the temperature of the conductor remains constant. That is V upon I equal to constant, which makes V equal to IR. R is your resistance मतलब of conductor, so it is your constant. So numerically speaking, if your I is 1, if your I becomes 1, so what will happen? Your V will be equal to R. So the resistance of a conductor is numerically equal to the potential difference across its end when the current flows through it. Now again, what is the SI unit of this potential difference? The potential difference SI unit will be volt per ampere, and this volt per ampere is known as ohm. It is named after a scientist Ohm, and this is its symbol. Now what is conductance? The reciprocal of resistance is known as conductance, and its SI unit is ohm inverse because it is reciprocal of resistance. Now you should know about the slope of IV graph. Okay, the slope of IV graph for a metallic conductor, it will help you, this graph. Now next thing is we have ohmic resistors and non-ohmic resistors. So what are ohmic resistors? The conductors which obey Ohm's law are called ohmic resistors or linear resistances. Example, all metal conductors. Non-ohmic resistors, the conductors which do not obey Ohm's law are called non-ohmic resistors. For example, LED, solar cell, junction diode, these are. Now, factors affecting resistance of a conductor. The first one is your nature of conductor. The second one is your length of conductor. Third is the thickness, and fourth is the temperature. So, how it is dependent on the nature, that is material of conductor. So different substances have different concentration of free electrons, and therefore the resistance of a conductor depends on its material, such as silver, copper, lead, aluminium. Dependence on the length. In a long conductor, the number of collisions of free electron with positive ions will be more as compared to the shorter one. Therefore a longer conductor offers more resistance, which basically what I am trying to tell you is R, which is your resistance, it is directly proportional to L. Now, thickness. In a thick conductor, the electrons get a larger area of cross section to flow as compared to a thin conductor. Therefore, a thick conductor offers a less resistance, which means your R will be inversely proportional to area, that is 1 upon A. Now temperature. So with increase in temperature of the conductor, the random motion of electrons increases. As a result, the number of collisions of electron with positive ions increases. Hence the resistance increases with increase in temperature. Now there is a graph of Vi, that is Vi graph of a conductor at two temperature, that is T1 and T2. You should know about this graph also. Now, what is your specific resistance or resistivity? I told you that R is directly proportional to L and R is inversely proportional to 1 upon A, which makes R will be proportional to L by A. Now on removing the proportional sign, you have to put a constant. We put a constant rho, so R equal to rho L upon A. Here your rho is the specific resistance or resistivity, and your rho, this rho will be RA by L, RA upon L. So if your L is 1, your A is 1, and then your rho will be equal to R. So the specific resistance of a material is the resistance of a wire of that material of unit length and of unit area of cross section. Now what is conductivity? The reciprocal or specific resistance is known as conductivity, and it is denoted by the symbol sigma. Next is superconductors. So a superconductor is a substance of zero resistance or of infinite conductance at a very low temperature. Mercury below 4.2 K, lead below 7.25 K, and these are some examples of your superconductor. Superconductors are not in common in use since it is very difficult to achieve such a low temperature. However, they can be very useful if it is possible to obtain them at room temperature. That's it with your superconductors. Next is EMF, that is electromotive force of a cell. So when no current is drawn from a cell, that is when the cell is open circuit, the potential difference between the terminal of the cell is called the electromotive force or the EMF. So the EMF of a cell is defined as the energy spent or the work done per unit charge in taking a positive test charge around the complete circuit of a cell, that is the circuit outside the cell as well as the electrolyte inside the cell. That is E will be W upon Q. Now factors affecting EMF of a cell. The first one is the material of electrode, the electrolyte used. These are some factors. Now terminal voltage of a cell. When current is drawn from a cell, that is when the cell is a closed circuit, the potential difference between the electrodes of the cell is known as terminal voltage, and it is denoted by a symbol V. The terminal voltage of a cell is defined as the work done per unit charge in carrying a positive test charge around the circuit connected across the terminals of the cell, and that is V equal to W upon Q. Now there is a relation between EMF and terminal voltage. W equal to W dash plus small w, it is as per the law of conservation of energy. Dividing this equation by Q, you will get capital W upon Q equal to W dash upon Q plus small w upon Q. So your capital W upon Q, it is your E, which is your EMF. Your W dash upon Q is your V, which is your terminal voltage, and small v will be small w upon Q. So basically it becomes E equal to capital V plus small v, that is capital V, which is your terminal voltage, will be equal to E minus small v, and E is your EMF. So this is your relation. Next we have three important derivations. The first one is a relationship between EMF, terminal voltage and internal resistance. The second one is combination of resistors in series and combination of resistors in parallel, and both series and parallel. So these are some derivations. I'm not going through these derivations here in this video, but if you want, you can ask in the comment section. We'll go a separate video only for these derivations. Next is electrical energy and its power. So according to the law of conservation of energy, energy can be transformed from one form to another, but it can neither be created nor be destroyed. So in our daily life, we use many devices where electrical energy is converted into different form of energy, such as heat, light, mechanical, chemical, sound and magnetic energy. So you should know where these types of conversion of energies is taking place, and you should go through them. Now, heating effect of current. The heating effect of a current, it depends on three factors. The first one is the amount of current passing through the wire, the resistance of the wire, and the time for which the current is passed in the wire. Basically, we are going to define this heating energy, where H will be directly proportional to I square, and H will be directly proportional to R, and H will be directly proportional to small t. So it gives that H is directly proportional to I square RT. Again, removing this, it will give you H equal to I square RT joule, or 0.24 I square RT calorie. This is your relation for the heating effect of current. Now the next one is household circuit. So we are not going thoroughly through this, but I am going to tell you what you must know. You should know about the house wiring, the ring system. Not everything, you have to just read it and you have to know a bit about it, the advantages and disadvantages. Now fuse, basically you need to know the fuse. An electrical fuse is a safety device which is used to limit the current in an electric circuit. The use of a fuse safeguards the circuit and the appliances connected in that circuit from being damaged. So this is your fuse. Now there is a give reason you should know why the fuse is always connected in the live wire before the appliance, so that as the current in the circuit exceeds the rating of fuse, it may melt and break the circuit first before the current reaches the appliance. Thus no current flows in the appliance. तो आपको ये पता चल गया होगा कि ऐसा हम लोग क्यों करते हैं. The next is your MCB. MCB is miniature circuit bit and it is used for each individual circuit. If due to short circuit a heavy current flows in the line, the MCB falls down to switch off the circuit in a very short time, that is nearly about 25 milliseconds. After repairing the fault in the circuit, the MCB is then raised up. Thus the use of MCB is easier than a fuse because it avoids the inconvenience of connecting a new fuse wire, and the second, it is much safer due to quick response. The next is switch. A switch is an on and off device for current in a circuit or in an appliance, and it is connected to a live wire. Single pole switch, double pole switch. Single pole switch, the switch used with an appliance to start or stop the flow of a current in it. It is single pole switch. A single pole switch disconnects only the live wire from the appliance. Double pole switch, the main switch at the distribution board used to switch on or off the mains, is double pole switch. A double pole switch disconnects both the live and the neutral wire simultaneously. The dual control switch is used in a staircase, etc., and is also double pole switch of special kind. Now you should know the safety precautions while using a switch. Circuit with dual control switches: earthing, local earthing, earthing as an appliance. Safety precautions for plug and socket. Now the next one is color coding of wires in cable. So old convention of colors of insulation: red is for live wire, black is for neutral, and green for earth. New International: brown for live wire, light blue for neutral, and green or yellow for earthing wires. Now, electromagnetism. So when an electric current is passed through a conducting wire, a magnetic field is produced around it. In absence of any magnetic field, the needle of compass can rest in any direction, but in the presence of a magnetic field, the needle of compass rests only along the direction of magnetic field. In Earth's magnetic field alone, the needle rests only along the north-south direction. So what is magnetic effect of current? A current or a moving charge produces a magnetic field around it, and this is known as magnetic effect of current. And when a current is passed through a conducting wire, a magnetic field is produced around it. Now, your right hand thumb rule. So if we hold the current carrying conductor in our right hand such that the thumb points in the direction of flow of current, then the fingers encircle the wire in the direction of magnetic field lines. The next is clock rule. So the polarity at the two faces of loop depends on the direction of current in the loop. Looking at the face of loop, if the current around the face is in anti-clockwise direction, the face has a north polarity, while if the current at the face is in clockwise direction, the face has a south polarity. So this is your clock rule. What is a electromagnet? An electromagnet is a temporary strong magnet made by passing current in a coil wound around a piece of soft iron, and basically it is an artificial magnet. It is of I shape or bar magnet, U shape or horseshoe. So next is, how can you increase the magnetic field of an electromagnet? By increasing the number of turns of winding in the solenoid, that is increasing the number of turns on per unit length. The second one is by increasing the current through the solenoid. Now what is permanent magnet? A permanent magnet is a naturally occurring magnet. Since it is not strong enough and of required shape for many purpose, so a strong permanent magnet is made like an electromagnet using a piece of steel instead of a soft iron. So now you have to know the comparison between an electromagnet and a permanent magnet. You should also know the advantages of having an electromagnet and a permanent magnet. Now, what is Lorentz force? So Lorentz was a scientist. He found that a charge moving in a magnetic field in a direction other than the direction of magnetic field experiences a force, and this force is known as the Lorentz force. Now what is the magnitude of force? Experimentally, it is found that the magnitude of force acting on a current carrying wire placed in a magnetic field in the direction perpendicular to its length depends on the following three factors. The force is directly proportional to the current, that is F proportional I. The force is directly proportional to strength of magnetic field, that is magnetic field is B, so F directly proportional to B. The force is directly proportional to the length of the wire, that is F directly proportional to L, which makes F proportional IBL. Again, removing the proportional sign, you have to put a constant, that is F equal to KIBL, and the SI unit is Tesla, or you can say Weber per meter square. And you should remember this formula for numerical purpose. Now Fleming's left hand rule. So what is Fleming's left hand rule? Stretch the four fingers, central finger and the thumb of your left hand mutually perpendicular to each other. If the four fingers indicate the direction of magnetic field and the central finger indicates the direction of current, then the thumb will indicate the direction of motion of conductor. This is your Fleming's left hand rule. Now, simple DC motor. An electric motor is a device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. So this is your DC motor. You should know the principle of DC motors. How can you increase the speed of rotation of a coil? First, by increasing the strength of current in the coil. Second, by increasing the number of turns in the coil. Third, by increasing the area of coil. And fourth, by increasing the strength of magnetic field. So these 4 points. What is electromagnetic induction? So whenever there is a change in the number of magnetic field lines linked with a conductor, an electromotive force, which is EMF, is developed between the ends of the conductor, which lasts as long as there is a change in the number of magnetic field lines, and this phenomena is called your electromagnetic induction. The next is Faraday's conclusion. So Faraday made 3 conclusions. First, a current flows in the coil only when there is relative motion between the coil and the magnet. The second is the direction of current is reversed if the direction of motion or polarity of the magnet is reversed. The third is the current in the coil is increased by the rapid motion of magnet, by the use of a strong magnet, and the third one is by increasing the area of cross section of coil and increasing the number of turns in the coil. So electromagnetic induction is the phenomena in which an EMF is induced in the coil if there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the coil. So this is your electromagnetic induction. Faraday's law of electromagnetic inductions. The first one is whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with a coil, an EMF is induced. The EMF induced lasts so long there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil. This is your first one. The second one is the magnitude of EMF induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the coil. So if magnetic flux changes at a constant rate, a steady EMF is produced. So these are the 2 laws which Faraday gave for the electromagnetic inductions. Fleming's right hand rule. Stretch thumb, central finger and forefinger of your right hand mutually perpendicular to each other. If the 4 fingers indicate the direction of magnetic field, the thumb indicates the direction of motion of conductor, then the central finger will indicate the direction of current. Now we have another important law, and you should know this law also. What is Lenz's law? According to Lenz's law, the direction of induced EMF or current induced is such that it opposes the cause by which it is produced. You should know what is an AC generator. So an AC generator is a device which converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy using the principle of electromagnetic induction. Main part of AC are horseshoe electromagnet, a armature coil, the slip rings and the brushes. So you should know a bit about this. You should know frequency of alternating current, that is E equal to E naught sine 2 pi nt or I equal to I naught sine 2 pi nt. Sometimes just if you have to write it down in 1 mark or 2 mark, it can come. And the maximum value of E naught of EMF of induced can be increased by increasing the number of turns in the coil. second by increasing the area of cross section, and third is by increasing the speed. You should know the difference between DC and AC. Advantage of AC over DC. An AC generator and DC motor. Transformer. So a transformer is a device by which magnitude of an alternating EMF can be increased or decreased. We have two types of transformers. One is step-up transformer and the other is step-down transformers. You should know the difference between step-up and step-down transformer. I'm not going to explain it. And that's it, friends. Your entire unit is complete here. If you have any query, you can ask in the comment section. If you want a separate video on a particular topic, you can also ask. And thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and thank you, friends.